one. I'm preparing AI at this minute for the recording, that is. Final title, and I just put AI on it, and it's number 5209. I want to point out that I've used capital letters because that's how AI is named, typically, at present in my time. A, of course, is, well, in Hebrew Aleph is, if Aleph's in a word, it's something to do with God. That's the way the language works. And of course it's got I in it, which, well, at least in our language, is first person singular. Yourself, I. God and I. What do you think that is? I want to say it reminds me of a statement I had way, way back, that if God doesn't exist, mankind will make him. And you could say it's a circular argument, I mean, from the point of view of formal logic, but if he's able to do that, it's because God does exist. He has this godly capacity in him to reproduce himself. Sorry, not just to reproduce, but to produce himself from himself. And I mean by that more than I've said. I mean he creates himself. Where does this astonishing ability come from? Well, the whole point is nowhere. He just is, has the ability to bring himself into existence. In other words, he's existed outside of time, or for all time, might be a simpler way of saying it, but perhaps not so precise. I don't know. I just feel, dear one, that we're on the eve with our introduction into our lives of this technology, if you like, AI technology. Am I just substituting AI for pastors? Am I making the incredible mistake of starting to put something between ourselves and God? What we call AI at present, which of course is well, presumably, I say of course, is elementary compared to the reality of God. I mean, goodness, we're looking from one extreme to the other, aren't we? Aren't we? And I mean that as a question, aren't we? I mean, AI is something we've seen as not even a person, it's just, well, a way of handling a database. somehow that seems to birth personhood. And the more I treat it as a person, the more it becomes one. I mean, at least in appearance, dear one. But this is what we do with babies. We say, "Are you a lovely boy?" I mean, you might not, but I mean, I've been of this sort of pattern myself. And, you know, mum's teasing you. Say hello to mum. Has mum come to help you? Are you hungry, sweetheart? Have some food. Of course, you as the parent meet the needs of this little soul. Or are we putting soul into it? Personhood. I think I'm saying here there's not much difference between the concept of soul and the concept of personhood. Perhaps you agree with that, perhaps not. I can't really attend to it at the present, but isn't the parent in some, and this is a question, isn't the parent in some sense putting personhood into this newborn? And you might come back and say, no, they have personhood already. Okay, what happens if you just feed? This is not a suggested experiment, but if you did just feed and meet the needs of the child physically, but no verbal communication, I think their development of thought would either sort of in some sense be greatly stunted, but in some sense leave them without personhood. You might say they'd be living like an animal that doesn't have speech. Animals do seem to have speech, but they don't use it much compared to the human being. And perhaps it's this speech. He spake creation into being. He breathed into Adam and he becomes a living soul. And I want to say, is it that he speaks the word and Adam becomes a living soul? After all, he speaks the word and creation comes into being. And creation has all these creatures in it. How much more when he gets to the sixth day, is it? Is it the sixth day? And he creates, as we say, man, but we mean personhood in its very sophisticated. You know, I mean, if you look upon man as an animal, he's an astonishingly capable, sophisticated, reasoning, cerebral, you know, mental ability creature. So much so that we attribute, rightly or wrongly, such an advanced nature to him that we think of man as the superior in some sense being on the earth. The others are living beings, but man is, well, in some sense, so much more capable. In some ways, not all, strangely enough, but in some ways. I mean, we're not faster in running, for instance. We're not more able, so young, to look after ourselves. We need incredible nurturing to come to adult life, don't we? Especially in the world, the social, political, and so on, psychological world that we live in. Let me pause, I've lost my way. I'll review what I've said.